All right. The lawnmower's motor bursts into a low growl, and the mower's blade twirls, and he rides forward and begins cutting the weeds in the field. Now, this is Louise. Louise drips the sweat as the heat of the summer day simmers to the steamy sizzle, and the slow of the sunset begins concluding the day. Louise makes his turn by turn as the green summer grass and weeds fly from the lawn mower's metal front deck cover. He says, hot, hot, hot. The sun is not a friend today, senor. So Louise, I got a great actor. He's a playwright, I know. Be great for this part. I know he's looking to do his own movies one day. This way to get in. He has the field at dusk. So he's a middle-aged day worker and gardener. And he's known as Louise the Lawn Man. I'm going to put it right here. Louise the Lawn Man. That's what he goes by. Now, I do have to change something really quick, because I made this mistake the other day when I was vlogging. I found it. So what we do, for all you screenplay writers, Control, right there, F, bing, okay? Now we do Vlopyra, which is wrong. And when we pull it up, we hit this right here. I know, Kitty, I know. Kitty's in the shower, guarding Linda, who might play, Linda may play Rainy Love. So then we do Vlog, Pyra. Now they can survive. They do get eaten up by the werewolves at the beginning, but it does not mean that they cannot shapeshift and come back. But I went ahead, I'm looking at Grim Life Collective. They will get a hard copy of the script. They're the first to get it. But I'm looking for them for the opening scene. Whether they're in later on, it depends on their vlog and if they're wanting to come in for guest roles on this thing. Possibly Netflix, possibly Apple TV, I don't know. I do want to take some of it serious. It's not a Saturday Night Live skit. It's a real werewolf screenplay, okay? And we're looking at it right here really quick. I try to go through this so you guys can stop and start, all you serious people that want to read it. And this is the most updated copy of it. We're gonna go through this page by page. I'm gonna be adding a scene here pretty soon. The feed store scene I'm gonna add. Page by page until it's purchased to the highest bidder. I do want to direct. I do want to act in the role of Grace LePan. This is probably maybe Hulu, maybe Apple TV, Netflix, I don't know. It is werewolves. Do we bring vampire in later? I don't know if vampire comes later. Possibly Oldman can be the werewolf hunter, known as Gerald Oldman III. There he is right there. Who is fighting? Some man named Grace Lippin, American, Apache heritage. The one there, the tattoo on his shoulder. That's when he shows the tattoo. I was in the bar, the sports bar that we're going through. See, it's 150 right now on pages. I'm about to add another scene. There's the Boeing scene, the hilarious scene where he's in the air. They're hitting these huge pockets of turbulence. It's scaring the crap out of Gerald. And we go into Rainy and Grace. It's also a love story, too, between Rainy and Grace. If I'm going to play Grace, then Linda would play Rainy. There's no way out of it. I have to make her sign the contract. Money goes into her account. She begins. And we go, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Blacksmith, John Blacksmith, and Gerald Oldman, they're like a team. Now, of course, we lose John Blacksmith, but it doesn't mean he can't return as a spirit. Or he could return, like we could get another character, because I'm sure Post Malone, if Post Malone accepts, it'd be cool, or someone like him. He could come back later, and he can go to a side story about John Blacksmith and his show and everything. I'm addressing the vlogger. We're continuing on. Golly, this is very tiring. This thing right here is like, drink Scotch whiskey all night long. Die behind the wheel. going through here so y'all can read it. These always take about 5 minutes to get through. So it's a little bit longer. It probably takes a little bit longer since I'm vlogging. I know, Kitty, I know. Garlane doesn't have a lot of lines in it other than maybe meow. I don't even know if he meows. The cat meows in it. Page work. Oh, God, that's my finger. Come on, hang in there. Dun, 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 dun. All right, there's a lot of John Blacksmith. And then Gerald, long monologues. Okay, we're dealing with, there's 102, another 50 pages. Sorry, guys. Stop and start. I'll be adding the feed clerk and Shaw Walnut, Mr. Shaw Walnut scene I'm adding tonight. This is the updated version right now. And we're still going through. Still got quite a bit more to go through here. And the fight sequences in there. This is good to go now. We could go now, but I would have to be writing on set and working with. I'm big improv too. I love improv. I can trust like Carrie, guys like that. You know, any of them. I think they can all improv. I mean, we might could even get Christopher Guest in here. I don't know. We definitely could bring him in. Now remember, there's a whole like gypsy. What are we doing here, right here? There's a whole gypsy aspect to it, so we can have gypsy characters. I know Guest loves to play the characters, but I know he's busy. But it would be great to bring Christopher in. He's one of my favorites. Then we've got all this right here. There's a whole police force too that kind of keeps up with the werewolf stuff, you know. Whether they're hiding it, you know, from the werewolves or trying to, you know, because they've got this Bob Balaban character known as social worker Robert Billings, who kind of, you know, protects the town in a way. He's the main social worker that looks over the department. Not a lot of scenes, of course, with the police. It's very limited right now. But I was thinking Will Ferrell and maybe another Saturday Night Live guy, bringing them in as two partners. And anyway, there we go. Okay? So, all right. I understand, Kitty. I know. Move over this way. Seriously. I fed you earlier. Okay, here we go. This is good enough for right now. Let's find all the mistakes because I watched this over. Feed store. Okay. Exterior Shaw Walnuts feed store that day. High noon. Okay. He's... Okay. Seriously, okay. A sign reads Mr. Walnut's feed store. Rainy Love walks into Mr. Walnut's feed store rolling a wheelbarrow full of Bill Jack dog food bags. Feed store clerk known as Tim Berry, Jim Carrey, stocks bags of feed onto a wood pallet. He moves the pallet with a yellow pallet jack and tucks them in the corner of the store and begins unloading the merchandise. Got it? Rainy Love walks by him into the front desk. Mr. Shaw Walnut waits at the desk, typing on his computer tablet. Rainey, without speaking, approaches Mr. Shaw Walnut and hands him a piece of paper. He looks it over. Mr. Shaw Walnut. All orders except Mr. Tim Berry will help you unload. Tim, help her unload the Bill Jack dog food. Tim Berry grabs his QR scanner without speaking. Tim approaches her and begins to unload the Bill Jack dog food from the wheelbarrow. Tim carries the dog food bags to a fresh pallet and drops them in place. Whole world's watching, Kitty. The whole world. Yes, we just saw that. I know, Carrie's laughing. Yes, we saw it again. Two drums. Okay, we can show that. Sorry. He does this over and over again and scans each order with a QR scanner. He does so until the pallet is full. Tim uses the pallet jack to scoot the dog food bags to the back room. Mr. Shaw Walnut hands Rainey a piece of paper with a QR matrix barcode. Rainey scans the QR code, smiles, he smiles back. Rainey Love scans her smartphone over the paper. She smiles again. Mr. Shaw Walnut. Looks good. Rainey Love exits the feed store. Mr. Shaw Walnut. Lunchtime approaching. Tim Berry returns to the main floor with a pallet jack. He parks the pallet jack near a pile of bags of feed. Fog arises from the field and begins to hover over the road. Vlog Pyra, who is not Roman Catholic. I changed it where they don't kill her. The silver dagger lands on her leg. So anything silver touches them keeps them from shape-shifting or returns them back. There has to be distraction. There has to be, it's part of life. So the cat Ghislaine leaps into the air here, bouncing off of Rainey's face, and she falls over. Okay, so we know that distraction's part of life. It welcomes us, and it's there. But Grace takes a silver dagger off the wall under Rainey's shrine to her rock and roll band, and he attempts to stab her in the heart. The cat Ghislaine leaps into the air, bouncing off of Rainey's face, and she falls over. We'll change that Rainey to highlighting right here. So we're gonna change it so we can capitalize on the name. We see it right there, Rainey's face, and she falls over. The silver dagger lands on her leg, and she begins to shapeshift back into a lady and runs out of the room. Rainey returns to her original womanly state. The she-wolf dies temporarily. We'll put, just to be kind of poetic, everything's temporary, so temporarily. Yep, I spelled it right. So the she-wolf temporarily dies. Gerald begins crying out in pain. So I'm just kind of retouching up the fight sequence at the end. Added this segment here. Louis is at the bottom of the pit, the ground. Wind howls through the adjacent long, endless tunnel leading into an underground cave. He finds the flashlight and picks it up and wipes away the dust. He begins searching for his smartphone at the bottom of the hole. So this is the moment where he finds the underground area that holds part of the curse. It's the gardener, or the lawn man. His name is Louise. All right, we're adding this. I found it. It was in the soggy mud at the mouth of this underground cave. This is him vlogging right here. So I'll put parentheses like right in here, vlogging. Here, Louise, my smartphone still works. Wow, where is that darn record button? He hits the record button and begins vlogging. Found it. The vlog must continue. I am now at the bottom of a cave. So, thank you. Right. We're good for updates right here. And this is the scene I've adding on to Louise. And I've added a few scenes, like 2 or 3 scenes. And done some corrections on some spelling. All right, we'll have it here, I don't know when, whenever I think it's worthy to be printed. Now we have added to my Werewolf screenplay. We'll have the great Gary Oldman. And once he signs, everybody signs. You can see my screenplay right there. Good night.